Hi, it's Tim Sattler here at Banks Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in beautiful Concord, New Hampshire. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into GM's Super Cruise autonomous driving system. And we're doing that today in this beautiful Cadillac Lyriq. Now, Super Cruise is a new hands-free, totally autonomous driving solution that takes advantage of a lot of the safety and driving enhancement systems that have been evolving in our cars, and we're taking it another step further to do safe, confident, comfortable, and relaxing hands-free driving. And we're going to take you out on the road and show you how that works. So with Super Cruise, this automated driving system works on over 400,000 miles of roads here in North America. Pretty much anything that's a divided highway, interstate, turnpike, the system will function. So for years, you're familiar with driving a car with cruise control. You set the speed and you can take your foot off the accelerator and the car will maintain that speed. And then in recent years, we've taken that technology another step farther. We've added adaptive cruise control, which now allows the car to accelerate to that set speed or slow down. So for example, if a car pulls in front of me that's going slower than what I would normally have had my cruise control set at, adaptive cruise control slows me down to match that car's speed to maintain the gap that I've set. And I have the option of adjusting the gap depending on traffic flow and what is comfortable for me. Super Cruise now takes some of the other technologies that we have in the car and enhances them. For example, we've got cameras and sensors, and so most new cars today all come with advanced safety features for braking, pedestrian braking, emergency braking. So with adaptive cruise control, we have braking capability, a function that we need with the Super Cruise. Additionally, we've gone from having lane departure warning systems to blind zone warning systems to lane keep systems, where now it's helping me steer the car to keep me in the lane. Again, a feature and function that I need for my autonomous Super Cruise hands-free driving. So the cars continue to evolve with these safety and convenience features. And the next step is moving towards autonomous driving as we advance those systems and make them more competent and capable. One of the things I would want to mention about autonomous driving, including the Super Cruise, is if you wouldn't normally be using cruise control, then you wouldn't be using Super Cruise either. If conditions aren't right, if traffic's too congested, the weather's bad, it's foggy outside, first thing in the morning, maybe sun glare into the camera system, the road markings are worn out, or you're on fresh new pavement where they haven't painted the lines yet. Those types of situations, the Super Cruise may not activate or will deactivate if it can't get a good view of the road. So if you wouldn't be using cruise control, i.e. I'm going through a construction site, you shouldn't probably be using Super Cruise. Again. So now I'm out on the interstate. I've got my cruise control on, and I'm just going to set my speed, comfortably driving along here at 65. So I set my cruise control, actually 64. I'll speed that up a mile an hour. And I have a little indicator on the dash that tells me that Super Cruise is available for me, and all I need to do is select the Super Cruise button on the steering wheel. And as soon as the system is ready to take over, I get an indicator on the dash and on the steering wheel. It turns green and it lets me take my hands off the wheel. Now, in order to maintain safe driving, I still need to be paying attention to the road and my surroundings. And to make sure I'm doing that, there's a camera placed here on the steering column that's looking at me to make sure I haven't dozed off or looked away and am not actively paying attention to the road conditions, at which point it would indicate that I need to take corrective measures. But we're driving along, and hands-free, no feet on the pedals, staying right in the middle of the lane, And one of the great new features with this newest generation of Super Cruise is that if the car, if we approach a vehicle going slower and we need to change lanes, Super Cruise will actually change lanes. It'll check the surroundings, make sure that I have enough room, and initiate a pass. It'll let me know. I'll get a vibration in the seat, an indication on the dashboard that we're changing lanes, and then we'll safely change lanes. Looks like with the traffic flow today, I might have to speed up a few miles an hour to catch up with a few cars, so I'm going to do that. Looks like a couple of trucks up here going up the hill, so once we catch them, the system will give a pass. Now you may ask how the system works. Well, it uses cameras, it uses a LiDAR radar system, a number of sensors, side blind zone, rear blind zone, and a very high-tech mapping system that knows how many lanes there are in the road and can keep me centered in my lane and know that where I might have lanes to change. And all that is continually updated through the connection the car has with the internet. Makes for a very comfortable, relaxing, eliminating maybe fatigue, holding the steering wheel for hours on a long car trip. All right, we're initiating a lane change, and my seat vibrated and the directional came on, and we just moved over to the left-hand lane to go around a slower moving car. I can adjust the sensitivity of that, and I can adjust here we are, changing lanes back over to the right lane. It did that just as I would have. I can adjust the sensitivity of the system and my gap forward and how responsive the system is before it makes those changes. So if traffic's heavy, I might want to lessen the gap, or if it's light traffic, I can increase that gap. And as a reminder, the main function of the system is for fatigue reduction and smooth flow of traffic. And it's primarily designed for the interstate like this. All right, we're slowing down because the truck is getting off the ramp, and so it's going to change lanes. I might have initiated that a little sooner. It didn't see the directional on the truck as quick as I did. But it's designed for the highway. It certainly is not going to take me on a back road. It's actually not even going to take me off the ramp. If I come to my navigation point, it has me coming to an exit, and when I get to the exit, the Super Cruise system is going to hand back control to me, so that I can drive from that point on. So it's more meant for fatigue reduction and smooth driving out on the highway. So I mentioned the ability to set the sensitivity of the system, and it's got far, medium, and close, and that adjustment is made right here in the steering wheel. And I can choose my gap adjustment. It will pop up on the screen, and right now that's the maximum, and then I can change it to the medium and then the shortest. With this light traffic, won't notice an immediate change in how it responds. But if it in this lowest setting, it'll let me get pretty close to a vehicle before it changes lanes. And it won't be lowering my speed if somebody pulls in front of me, unless they're closer with that closer setting I've selected. So we're in a tight corner on the highway, and it just indicated that it's going to change lanes, and it passed the car and we moved over to the right-hand lane. No issues or problems there. So I drive a lot, put a lot of miles on cars over the course of the year, and I drive a lot of different types of cars working at the dealership. And my commute is up the highway, so I use cruise control every day. When adaptive cruise control came out, I was a little leery And I suffered from the things that early adaptive cruise control drivers experienced, and that would be, I've set the cruise control, I'm driving along in the right-hand lane, and I don't even realize that I came up on a slower car, and I've slowed down 5 or maybe even 10 miles an hour without even realizing it. And so I'd get frustrated, change lanes, speed back up. I may take it out of adaptive cruise control and just drive a standard cruise control. Super Cruise takes that adaptive cruise control functionality but enhances it. Not only can I drive hands-free, but now it'll change lanes. So that experience I had when I got frustrated with the early adaptive cruise control of all of a sudden realize I'm going 10 miles an hour slower than what I want to be driving at. Now the adaptive cruise control with the Super Cruise changes lanes, keeps me going at my speed with very little input from myself. And I would think that I would definitely, if I was on a trip, I would have the navigation system running so that I would not drive right by my exit, which I would be likely to do because the ability to not pay attention. So here I'm coming up to an exit I want to get off on, so I just tap the brakes to turn the Super Cruise off, just like you would tap the brakes to shut cruise control off. Or I could have used the cancel button on the steering wheel. And I'm driving again. Easy as that. Cruise control still turned on. It's still remembering my set speed, so if I want to resume after I stop at the rest area or get a snack, I'm ready to go. Some of our luxury cars come standard with Super Cruise. The highest trim levels on some of our pickup trucks, for example, come standard with Super Cruise. And some of our customers are a little apprehensive about using it. And that's okay. You don't need to use Super Cruise. You can use the cruise control like standard, or you can use the adaptive cruise control. It is there and available to you, and our hope, and I think GM's hope, is that once you become more comfortable with the car and you try it on a road where the traffic's a little light to get used to it, maybe you'll embrace the technology and start to see the great user experience that it provides, in addition to that whole fatigue management or ease on a long trip. So here's an example where I'm in the left-hand lane and the system has decided not to go back to the right-hand lane, but I want to go back to the right-hand lane. So if I turn the directional on, the car will now change lanes, assuming that that's a safe thing to do, and it's going to check and confirm that. So I initiated that lane change. And why would I do that? Well, maybe up ahead I see that there's a construction zone and the right-hand lane's closed. So I want to move over to the left-hand lane. The car might then, though, want me to move back to the right-hand lane because it doesn't see the construction zone way up ahead. And that might be a case where GM would recommend not using cruise control even, let alone Super Cruise, in a construction zone. And that would be a perfect time for me to take back control of driving. If there wasn't an interruption in my lane, Super Cruise would get me right through the construction zone, but again, would I be driving with my cruise control through the construction zone? If not, then I probably shouldn't be driving with Super Cruise through a construction zone. So as I mentioned at the start, we're in this beautiful Cadillac Lyriq, but Super Cruise is available in a wide variety of vehicles, and that includes our full-size pickup trucks from both Chevrolet and GMC. Our Chevy Bolt is available with Super Cruise, and every new model that is coming out will have the availability of having Super Cruise either as an option or standard equipment. And that includes our just announced Chevy Traverse, our all-new 2024 Chevy Traverse. When that comes out, it'll have it. Our Buick Envision, we're getting a new reworked 2024 Buick Envision, and that will have Super Cruise available. So we'll start to see it become more available in more of our vehicles. Oh, the Blazer EV, there's another one that's going to have it. So we're going to see it become much more popular, just like the change from standard cruise control to the adaptive cruise control, we're going to start seeing the Super Cruise. And if you keep track of anything that you're hearing out of General Motors, they're working towards zero congestion, zero collisions, and zero emissions. And Super Cruise is one of the ways to not only improve the safety of the drivers out on the road with all the advanced safety features, but to help you drive more smoothly, and that should help with congestion, along with using navigation. That's a whole nother topic, but using navigation when, even though you know where you're going, you might have experienced that where your navigation system takes you on a different route than you have been using for forever because of congestion. So you start incorporating that technology into the car as well. And then, as more and more electric cars become available, the idea of reducing emissions will also come into play. So Super Cruise is a part of that drive that GM is moving towards. So we're going to see it in a lot more cars. Now, a lot of manufacturers are moving towards some sort of autonomous driving. We feel that the Super Cruise system is one of the top, if not the best system out there. But it's not meant to be a point-to-point system like some of our competitors. It's meant to be used out on the highway, divided highways, interstates. So it's not meant for me to, press go in my driveway and it's going to drive me with no interaction to my destination and park the car. This is just the next step in adaptive cruise control, with the idea that it's a fatigue reducer out on the highway. But in town, I'm still going to drive the car like I normally would. One of the important safety features of this system is that camera that I mentioned up here on the steering wheel. And it's looking at me, doing some facial recognition just to see that my eyes are open and I'm looking forward, and that I'm paying attention. It sometimes has a hard time with heavy tint sunglasses or a mirrored tint sunglasses, so sometimes that will be a problem. But the idea is, if I turn and look away from the system for a long enough period of time, the car's going to notice that, and it's going to react and ask me to look forward. And of course, I'm driving, so it just kicked off. I've got a red light flashing, and Super Cruise has been turned off, and it wants me to take over. And that's because I turned and looked at the camera for a long enough time. So now it's happy again, and I can just push the Super Cruise button and it will take back over. So again, because I looked away for long enough, I got a vibration on the seat, and then the steering wheel flashed, message come up on the screen, and because I didn't respond quick enough, it didn't disable, it turned off the Super Cruise. And basically we were just coasting until I grabbed the steering wheel and then applied the gas pedal. So the intent of the system is I can't read a book, watch a movie, or take a nap. I still need to be paying attention as I'm driving. I certainly wouldn't want to be going down the road with another driver who's paying no attention at all because they're watching a movie, reading a book, or taking a nap. So a nice safety feature that GM built into the Super Cruise system. So it's a great new feature. Makes it for easy driving, comfortable. It's very confidence inspiring because it does everything smooth. I noticed that when it changes lanes, it would be at the appropriate times. It's not something that a lot of people have experienced. If it's something that you're interested in, I'd certainly invite you to come down to the dealership and go for a ride and have somebody demonstrate it for you and let you check it out. Once you've experienced it, or you start to talk with friends and family who have experienced it, or maybe somebody has a vehicle with it, it may become one of those points that you put on your list when you're looking for your next new car. But we're happy to show the system to you. It's a great new system. I'm looking forward to it becoming more available. We're happy to show you the benefits of it and see how easy and confidence inspiring it is.